Right, welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a match preview for Newcastle's upcoming game against West Ham down at the London Stadium, Monday the 10th of March, 8 o'clock kickoff. And my word, what a long week it's been as a Newcastle fan. I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely knackered with all things Newcastle United. What a horrible, flat, miserable week it's been for the football club. It's quite nice in a way to get back to football, to look at a game that we can maybe win, but of course, there's loads of questions over who plays, who doesn't play with the Carabao Cup coming at the end of this coming week. So we're going to get stuck right into this, talk about the team that we think may line up. It might not be the team that Eddie goes for. It's the team that, between Mark and myself will put together and think that this is probably the team we go for, but probably not the one Eddie would go for. Let us know what you guys think, obviously, when we finish that team. Like and subscribe if you can. Help us get to that next milestone. We were just over 10,000. I think some of you disagreed with my ticket price video, which is fine. I've got no problem with that. But we're slightly under 10,000 now. So help us get back over 10,000, guys, by smash that button if you can. And if you disagree with anything I say, you don't have to click unsubscribe. If you want to, that's on you. So let's get stuck in then. So this is how I think we should line up. I don't think it's probably how Eddie Howe will line up. So starting with the goalkeeper, Martin Dubravka has to stay in the goal for me. You could argue maybe bring Nick Pope in because you want to keep Dubravka fresh for the final. But barring a complete disaster, touch wood, goalkeepers generally don't get knackered in games, really, do they? So Martin Dubravka should start this game. He's the better of the two goalkeepers by a mile. Nick Pope is woefully off form. I don't think you can save a quid if I opened him a fucking bank account at the minute, Nick Pope. He's dreadful. Absolutely terrible at the minute. Decision making's awful. He looks like the Tin Man from the fucking Wizard of Oz when he's trying to move for shots. So I wouldn't put Nick Pope anywhere near this side. He's absolutely terrible at the minute, so he shouldn't get in this team. Kieran Trippier, right back, I've gone for there. Obviously, Lewis Hall's injury means Tino Livramento switches over to the left-hand side. I'd much rather have Tino in this game because West Ham have got some dangerous players with pace and guile out wide in particular, and we need Tino in this game, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to have Matt Targett in this game. Again, I saw Matt Targett running a bit like a retired gazelle with a gammy leg in the zoo the other day, and his crosses didn't even clear the first man. So no, thank you. No Matt Targett in this game for me. Centre half, I've made a change. I brought in Emil Kraft. The reason I brought in Emil Kraft is I think Fabian Schär is fucking terrible at the moment. He's an absolute liability. But Eddie Howe probably will play Schär alongside Dan Burn, who I've also picked there. But for me, Emil Kraft should come in, I think, as a right-sided centre half. I think he's a better option. He can't do what Schär used to do, but you know what? Neither can Fabian Schär at the minute. Every single pass he hits is probably off target or so low it cuts the grass. His decision-making is awful. His positioning is terrible. And the thought of him playing in the final against some of those Liverpool players scares the shit out of me. But he's one of Eddie's favourites, so he'll probably walk back into the team. The midfield three, in our team, we've made some big changes. Louis Miley comes into that midfield alongside Sandro Tonali in the 6, and Joe Willock on the left-hand side of that midfield. Now, I've seen loads of different stories doing the rounds. So Joe Linton's on 9 yellow cards. If he gets another yellow card, he'll miss the final. And some people say he won't miss the final. If it was me, I wouldn't even fucking risk it. And also, I wouldn't risk an injury either. I wouldn't play Joe Linton. I wouldn't play Bruno either. I'd rest the pair of them for the final. But Eddie will probably play one of them, if not both of them. But if it was up to me, I wouldn't play. I'd go with that midfield three against West Ham. That's a good enough midfield three to win that game, I think, against West Ham. There's quality in there with Sandro. Louis Miley's great on the ball. Joe Willock's full of running. There's quality in that midfield to win that midfield battle and win you that game at West Ham without risking injury for the final. But Eddie will probably make the changes because we know that's what he does. And then the front three, I've gone for Jacob Murphy on the right-hand side because let's face it, there's no other fucker that can play there. Callum Wilson through the middle. Now, whatever you think about Callum Wilson, West Ham is his game. He loves to get a goal against West Ham. His record is ridiculous against West Ham. It really, really is. And then I've got Harvey Barnes coming in on the left-hand side. Harvey Barnes is due a big performance. I did a video saying, can Barnes step up in Gordon's absence? Self-inflicted absence, may I add. The kind of free pass Gordon's got from a lot of the fan base is quite scary, really, in many ways. And I don't want to run the lad over. He's a really good player for us, but he's been an absolute fucking moron. But the way people are talking, you would have thought he'd done nothing wrong at all, which is just a bit, for me, I can't get my head around that. Sorry, he made a stupid decision at a key time of the season. And when it was offside, the flag had already gone up, but everyone's just letting him get away with it. And, poor Anthony. But I'm still fucking mad at him. I'm sorry, I really am. He's dropped us right in the shit at the key time of the season, and he has to make it up to the fans. He really, really does. I've seen that bollocks Eddie was saying how, he was really proud of them. He stood up and apologized to his teammates. Well, what do you fucking do? He still can't play. in the Carabao Cup final or this game either. So that doesn't wash with me, Eddie. Sorry about that. Maybe I'm just a little bit harsher than you are, St. Edward of Howe. But that's the team that I would go for. Eddie will probably make changes. If Alexander Isak starts this game, I wouldn't be surprised. I understand he's the best striker that we have. Want momentum going into the final. But what happens if he gets a knock? What happens if he comes off with another tight thigh muscle or whatever it is he came off with against Brighton? It's not worth the risk, in my opinion. It really, really isn't for this game. I know this is an important game in the race for Champions League. We'll look at the Premier League table in a minute and obviously talk about what that means. Nottingham Forest beat City this weekend as I'm recording this, and that was good for us in terms of that top 5 race, but also it keeps Forest, in that hunt there, in third position as well. But that this game for me, what is the right word to say? This game is important. There's no doubt, because every game is important. But would you rather win the Carabao Cup or would you rather beat West Ham? I know what my answer would be. I'd rather win the Carabao Cup. And you want your best players available. We've had an absolutely rancid week. Rancid week is Newcastle United. Anthony Gordon suspended, Lewis Hall's injured, which is probably the biggest blow of all of them, to be honest with you, because the drop off in left back is massive. Tino's a good player, but Lewis Hall has been brilliant in that position, made it his own. Sven Botman is out. This 8-week time frame, people are saying, he still might play towards the end of the season. No, he will not. He will not play again till next season. And he owes Jody Josh an apology, in my opinion, for snapping out at him when it was pretty clear that he was going to miss the rest of the fucking season. Now, it's a real worry, Botman's fitness concerns. Some people don't want to hear it. They're just going, la, 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 la. They don't want to hear it. But he's missed a hell of a lot of football. You have to look at that squad and ask yourself, do you need one quality centre-half in the summer, or do you need 2 in case Botman's injuries continue and persist? I'm not saying Botman's a bad player. Botman's a brilliant player. But if he can't play, then you have to look to fatten out that squad with more centre-halves. People are getting excited about Jamal Lascelles running on the grass. Do me a favour, man. Jamal Lascelles is a championship defender. He should have been let go years ago. He was great for us at a period of time. Under Rafa, when he came back to the Premier League, he looked like he should have been in the England squad, to be fair, alongside John Shelby. That was nearly 5 or 6 years ago. Time moves on. These players regress. Jamal Lascelles is not the answer, guys. He really is not. We should be looking to bring in new centre-halves. And do you know what? Even Fabian Schär, I would be more happy with an under-21 centre-half in this squad over Fabian Schär than he's that much of a liability to me. He really isn't. This game is not going to be easy. It really, really isn't, because West Ham do have some dangerous players. I mean, they're sitting 15th in the Premier League at the moment. They've had a pretty shit season, to be fair. They parted ways with their manager. Was it Lopetegui, and they brought Graham Potter in to try and weave some magic. Yeah, no pun intended. Of course, there's a pun intended. Yeah, so he's on a short-term contract, Graham Potter. He's only in for 6 months, which tells me either West Ham didn't want to pay him what he wanted to get paid for a long-term contract, or he thinks there might be a better job on offer in the summer. But yeah, West Ham are sitting on 33 points. They're a fair stretch away from the relegation zone, really. Everton on 32 points, and then below that you've got Wolves that are 10 points adrift from them. So I think that they're in a pretty good position in terms of, Premier League safety will probably be guaranteed, more or less, I think, for West Ham next season, because I can't see those 3 teams below in the shape of Southampton, who are dog shit, Leicester and Ipswich even getting ahead of Wolves, to be honest with you. So West Ham are probably all right, but they'll want to win a few more games to get that little bit of safety there as well. But they do have some dangerous players, there's no doubt about it. And the best player by a country mile is Jared Bowen. And even though they've been shit this season, Jared Bowen still got 7 goals and 4 assists in 23 Premier League appearances. We know what he's all about. We nearly signed him when he was at Hull. He was looking at houses in Newcastle. Jared Bowen is hard working. He's quality. He's strong on the ball. He can tuck in, tuck inside, tuck outside. He's a great finisher. Never stops running. He's, with no disrespect to West Ham, he's probably someone who's going to leave West Ham soon, a bit like Declan Rice did. He's that next player that they're probably going to cash in on maybe in the summer. Why don't Newcastle make a move for Matthew? I'd rather say on our right-hand side. A player like Jared Bowen would be pretty costly, upwards to 100 million, I'd imagine. But he's a really, really good player. But let's just see how they're probably going to line up. It's probably how they lined up in the last game, really. So they had Areola in goal. They had Tadibo, again, a player that was linked with Newcastle, who never signed him. Max Kilman and Cresswell as a back 3. Cresswell had a really good game in the last game against Leicester, which was a 2-0 victory at home for them. Then they had a kind of a midfield 5 with wing backs. They had Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who scored against us in the reverse fixture when they beat us 2-0 at St James's Park, which I still can't believe we lost that game. We had so many opportunities and chances and didn't take them. Then they went and beat us 2-0. Then you got Soucek, Ward-Prowse, and Alvarez in midfield with, is it Skulls on the other side, then Jared Bowen and Kudus almost acting as as kind of strikers up front, really, which shows you how bereft they are of a centre forward. However, they do have a certain young Evan Ferguson who's trying to work his way back to full fitness. He's there on loan. It's a weird deal, this. It really is. I don't even know whether West Ham are going to be able to sign him on a permanent or not, but he is there. He is there as a lone player. He is a quality player. He is a dangerous player. There is no doubt about that. And for me, I think he's a player that we need to watch out for, because if he comes off the bench, he's capable of roughing it up. I mean, weird enough, it's Dan Burns' game. He likes to go up against these kind of old-fashioned, strong number 9, so he might be all right against Ferguson. We did score a hat-trick against us not too long ago there, so it is something we should be conscientious about. But the form guy going into this, on paper, it looks like Newcastle probably should beat West Ham. We've got a better side, even with that team I've just pulled up. But looking at the form guide in terms of the last 6 games, so West Ham have won 2 of the last 6, and we won 2 of our last 6. We've actually lost more games than West Ham in our last 6. We've lost 4 of our last 6, and they've only lost 3 and they drew 1. So in terms of that form, is a bit concerning, because that's not great form for Newcastle United, no matter which way you look at it, really, in terms of where we want to be as a squad, in all fairness. But looking at the team news going into the game, I'm just trying to get some of the team news up here. See if we can see any injuries for West Ham. See what's coming up here. I don't know if there is any injuries for West Ham. Here we go. Team news. I'm losing my place there. So I think Lucas Paqueta is set to return from an ankle injury. Very, very good player, but obviously he's got a lot of issues off the pitch at the moment, and they're not too sure he's in the right state of mind to play, which will be a good thing for us, because Lucas Paqueta is an excellent player, no matter what's gone on off the pitch. Every time he's played against Newcastle, he's had really, really good moments, good battles against his good mate, Bruno Guimaraes. But Lucas Paqueta is a really, really good player. He is wrapped up in this betting scandal. People are talking about banning him for life and all that kind of stuff. Very similar, kind of stories to what was happening with Sandro Tonali in a way, but maybe Paqueta is slightly more extreme, I think, in his case as well. But, I wouldn't want him banned for life. Maybe give him a ban from the game for a period of time like Sandro had, but ban him for life is a little bit harsh. But he's an excellent player, and if he is missing for West Ham, that is good for us as well. They're missing Kufel as well, but I think he's back on track potentially for the game. Fulkrig is out with a hamstring injury. Never really hit the heights, Fulkrig, of the signing from Dortmund. I like the player. He was really good at Dortmund and hasn't really done it for West Ham. Obviously, Mikel Antonio is out injured as well. He had that terrible car accident. I'm glad that he's okay after that, but he's not back to full fitness yet. And I think Somerville as well is also on the treatment table, who's a really good player, Somerville as well. The sign that they had from Leeds. Dangerous player, bit of pace, bit of trickery as well. So that is someone, we're probably happy is not going to be playing in this game. But looking at this game in isolation, even with that team I've just pulled up, no disrespect to those players, it's a tricky one. Because I don't think West Ham are a great side. They're very inconsistent. They show up at times and they disappear. They're either really good or they're really shy. There's no grey area. West Ham, I'm sure any West Ham fans in the comments will probably agree with me. But Newcastle haven't been brilliant, let's be honest with you, for the last few months. We haven't really been very convincing in our performances. We've huffed and puffed and struggled to blow the house down. Our key players have been off form even before they got suspended. The only real shining light in this whole thing is Alexander Isak. But as I said before, I think you have to be very, very careful in this game. Of course, we want to win it. We want to try to push up the table, to secure those Champions League places. I mean, we are sitting now in 7th on 44 points. A win would put us back into kind of 4th, 5th in the league, which is where we want to be at the end of the season for the Champions League spaces. Alexander Isak's on 19 goals. He'll be keen to get more goals to try and push Erling Haaland and Mo Salah, who's way out in front on 27 goals for the Golden Boot in the Premier League. But I think starting with Callum Wilson is a good idea in this game. Let Callum even have the first hour and then maybe bring Isak on for the last half an hour, get a bit of sharpness in their legs, maybe get a goal, something like that. Go into that game with a bit of fitness, a bit of form. But the danger is you play Alex from the start and he breaks down and he misses the final. You play Joe Linton, does he get a yellow card and get suspended at the final? Let me know in the comments below if that's actually true or not. I don't know if it's been rescinded or reset because, I think when you get past a certain stage of the competition, that all the other previous yellow cards or whatever don't matter. I don't know what it is. The fucking rules it was to go along these, not really. But you don't want to risk injury to your key players in this game. This is what squad rotation is all about. Sadly for us, we've only really probably got a squad of arguably 15 players when everyone's fully fit that you can interchange players in and out, and loads of them are missing. Botman's out, Hall's out, Gordon's out. That's 3 massive key players for us. in that squad of kind of 15 or 16. You want other players to step up. Harvey Barnes walks in to the team as the Gordon replacement, or does Joe Linton go there and Louis Miley play in midfield? Does Joe Willock go there and Joe Linton plays in midfield? I'm not too sure what's going to go on here. I don't know whether the team selection in this game will give any indication as to where Eddie Howe is looking for the Carabao Cup final. But I'm a little bit concerned about this game. I've got to be honest with you. You know, my confidence in the squad at the minute and the form of the team is not great. You know, obviously I want them to win. Of course, I want them to win every single game, but I feel really flat. I feel really disappointed in the lads' performances of late. I feel like there's not enough desire there. There's not enough belief that we can beat teams anymore. We look very cagey. We give the ball away too much. We give space away. You know, we give possession away to teams that are not even as good as we are as well. And it's been that way for a while now. And I'm really concerned about this tail off in form. There's the shades of the 3 years ago and went into the Carabao Cup final against Manchester United as well. And, you know, that seemed to weigh heavy on our shoulders. I don't know whether it's doing the same thing now. And that's why our form has dropped off. You know, the key players haven't showed up for weeks now, you know, and if they only show up for one game this season, has to be next Sunday's game, the 16th of March, against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, where me and Mark will hopefully be jumping on to do a live watch along, guys. And you guys can come and join us in the chat for the live watch along. We don't normally do that. It's a special occasion being the final. So we are going to jump on and do a live watch along, which I'm excited to do. And there will be plenty of swearing from me probably in that game as well. So tune in for that. You might hear some new curse words you've never heard before, apart from all of you censorship Ned Flanders who give me abuse in the comments for swearing. Hey, football's a passionate game and I'll swear if I want to swear. That's the way it is. But going back to this game, my heart says Newcastle win this game in a really cagey 2-1. And it's a win. It keeps us in the Champions League picture. And we go into the Liverpool game with a win under our belts, a little bit of confidence. But my head says it's most likely going to be a draw this game. And I'm going to say 1-1 is probably going to be my result in this game. I'm going to go with my head rather than my heart. And I'm going to say 1-1 going into this game. But if we get through this game with no injuries, that's the biggest bonus in my opinion. If all the key players who are going to play in the final remain fit and remain available from this fixture, I'm talking Alexander Isak, Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Sandro Tonali, you know, Dan Burn, Trippier, you know, Cher again is up in the air. For me, I think Cher's way past what he used to be. And I think he's a liability in this game and in the final as well. But Eddie will play him because he loves him, wants to give him a new contract as well. Cher's been excellent for the club, has been excellent is the key word there. He's not anymore. He's aging out. He needs to be replaced. But he will still start this game probably and the Carabao Cup final. I just hope he doesn't have an absolute fucking mare and cost us a goal. But yeah, I'm really concerned about this game. You know, I just think West Ham aren't a great side, but our confidence is not great at the minute. You know, I was watching a video from Craig Hope and he was talking about siege mentality and all this stuff. And I must admit, wow, he was talking about grasping for straws, Craig. I mean, wow, that was incredible, mate. Honestly, I think I haven't met anyone with that level of optimism in amongst this darkness before. So I've got to give him his credit for that. You know, if I'm feeling down, I might just drop Craig a message and say, Craig, make me feel better, pal, because he was certainly trying his best. But I'm kind of going the other way. I don't think the siege mentality is going to be formed by the club. I think they're very cagey, they're very overcautious, certainly in the Premier League. I think this game will be a really cautious, shaky performance by Newcastle. The final is probably what matters more to the players. They won't come out in a minute, but I think it does. The final matters more to these players. If they turn up for that final like they did in the Arsenal game in the Cup, we could do it. It's one game over 90 minutes plus injury time. Newcastle could win that game and win the Carabao Cup and end a 70-year trophy drought. I'm actually more confident they'll turn up in the final than they will down at West Ham on Monday night. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Are you feeling confident? Are you excited about the game? Are you feeling nervous, cagey? What would you do? Would you do what me and Mark are talking about, dropping some of the key players, keeping them fit for the final? Or would you go with the strongest 11 to try and win the game and retain momentum in that Champions League race as well? We always like to hear from you. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video, help the channel grow. It really helps with the old algorithms and all that malava as well, which is really, really nice. And as I say, let us know in the comments below what you think. Which team would you pick? Do you disagree with our lineup? It's okay to disagree. That's all cool. It's all fine. That's the whole point about football, having a difference of opinion, debating, not berating. You don't need to unsubscribe. Just jump in the comments and we will engage with you. We're not the kind of channel that shuts you down for having a difference of opinion to me or to Mark or to anybody. It's welcome in our chat. Just keep it above the belt. No reason to give anybody any unnecessary grief. But thanks for watching, guys. Mark will be with you on the post-match because I am not here. The day job is calling. I am away, but I will have a beverage in my hand watching this game on the telly in the pub. Hopefully, I'll be happy, smiling. I might jump in the chat in the lives and give Mark a hard time. I'm not joking. Of course I won't. I'll give him some support. But hopefully I'll be smiling like you guys will because Newcastle have got another 3 points. Very important 3 points. Confidence boosting 3 points to get into that final. It's going to be a massive week for this football club. Thanks for watching, everybody. Keep it evermore. We'll see you later. Cheers.